When you first create your account and log in, you'll arrive at a screen that looks a little bit like this. Obviously, it's quite a small resolution that we've got here. Now, you'll find there are two databases. We're going to explore master. Master is simply an empty database which is there to get you started so that you can create database objects and start to explore. So we'll go into master, and you'll see this is an empty database. To create database objects, tap the plus icon. So we'll do that, and we'll create a new table called my table. Press OK, and there we are. We'll now go into my table, and we'll see that it has one column, which is column called $ID. If we add some rows by clicking the plus button here, 1, 2, 3, you'll see that ID is a auto-incrementing integer. Now, at this stage, we have got no other columns. So what we need to do is to find this icon, which currently is not actually visible. This icon, the cross, hammer and spanner, is not actually visible here because the screen resolution is too slow, it's too small, and so if we look down here we can find it here. So we click on that, and we're now going to create an extra column. So we'll go add column, yes, thank you very much, and we'll call it name. Now I'm going to leave the data type as its default, which is varchar, and then I'm going to click another one, and I'm going to go is test, and that will have as a boolean, which is a yes/no data type. Then we will create another column, which will be number of tests. And we'll make that into an integer. That is a number, a whole number, no decimal places. And then we will create another one, and we'll call it average. And that's going to be a number. So, you'll notice that I've created all of the column names with lowercase and no spaces, and none of them start with a number. Now, there are ways around that rule, but you would make your life easier if you stuck to it just for now. So we will now close this, and you'll see that our table that we created before now has all of those entry fields in. So we'll add some data. Peter, Susan, George. This is text, so you can type anything you like. Is test, 2 of them. Number of tests, 0, 5, 7. Because this is an integer, if I try typing, I'm hitting the J button. Although you can see it reacts, it actually rolls back the change because you can't have a J in an integer field. If I try to hit the decimal place button, again, this is an integer, you can't have decimal places. The average, on the other hand, 99.99, 23.056, say, and 55. Now, you don't have to have a decimal place, but what you can't do, I'll hit the J button again, is you can't put letters into that field. So that's basically, we have created a table. What we now need to do is to save it to the server. Now, if I can save now and carry on working if I wanted to, but I'm actually going to go and save and close. That will actually log me out, and we'll be back to the login screen. So let's log back in again and look at master. My table, there we are. Now we've saved it to the server, we've shut down, we've reloaded it from the server, and there is our data table. We're going to just tidy this table up a bit. It's not exactly how it is, how we want to see it. Firstly, we're not really using the ID column in this particular context, so we don't really want it visible. So what we can do here is go into the structure of the table, take a look. We need to pan sideways, and you'll see the ID column is of type sysid. It has an options button, and we can hide it. It doesn't mean it isn't there, it just means that we don't see it visible. The next thing is the number of tests. People actually want to read, or they would understand in this context, the name hash tests. Now that can't be a column name, but we can actually go in and go back into the structure, number of tests, display name, hash tests. Close that, take a look, hash tests, there you are. Now let's just say we actually don't want this column, we've done it wrong, we want that column at the end. That is to say, we want it to be the last one. Unclick that. We want it to be the last one in the row. So we'll go in, we will go back to structure, and we will take a quick look at, it is this one we want to be at the end. So what we need to do is to hit the, it shouldn't say add columns, it should be sort. Hit the sort button, and this is crude but effective, and that is that each column has a sort order number. We want this one to be last, so we'll make it 60, and we jump sideways, and that's in reverse order. Click it again, and we are in, right, there it is at the end now of the list of columns. So we close that, and we will now see that isTest is down at the end there. We can actually do even stranger things, which is if we go back into structure, let's take a look at this, the average, and we'll add span. Let's make it subscript avg. If you see, I'm putting in standard HTML tags into the display name. Close that, and it hasn't worked. Oh yes, it has. avg, of course, is it is in lower subscript. Let's make that rather more obvious by doing something completely stupid, and I did that wrong anyway. Subscript. Let's go superscript. I have no idea why you would want to do this, but I just want to show that you can. There you go. AV in in subscript, G in superscript. I can change the colors if I want. Let's go into tests. Let's change tests. Structure, tests. We're going to have it as a span. Style equals color red, spelt the American way. There you go. And there it is, color in red. So basically, with the display name, you can do an awful lot of things that you absolutely should not do with the actual column name that the system is going to use. Let's quickly go back in, and the one thing I didn't mention is that of course you can have upper and lower case and spaces. So custom name, close, customer name, there you are. We're going to just tidy up the table that we created before in a more general way, not specifically just columns. So let's go into it, have a look, and let's have a quick look. These are sort buttons, which means that we can sort the data by the data in this particular column. If I put that back to how it was, it may be that when we display this in front of our in front of the public, we don't actually want to see the sort buttons. So we can change that by going into the properties of this table, look at the display tab, and here are where is it? Hide sort arrows. Yes, we want to hide the sort arrows. While we're at it, the odd even, which is every second line is highlighted, we probably want to turn that off. So we can go down to there, apply that, and now actually you see that there isn't an odd and even shading, and the sort arrows have disappeared. So that's good. Now another thing one can do with properties is go in here and let's what am I trying to do? I'm trying to display, we want to turn on row class and cell class in order to be able to customize the properties of individual columns and individual rows. We need a class name on those columns and rows so that we can apply a styling to them. So what we're going to do now is this is we've hidden the ID column, which is column 1. This is now column 2. This one, test, is now column 3. So if we go into here and we go and find the style, we can go .c3, which means the class that is on column 3, background red. Try typing my CSS correct and hit apply. Apply and hit apply. Okay, hit OK. Yes, there you go. It is background red. And if I wanted the background of the input box to be red as well, we could go in and get a bit fancy. Let's just quickly demonstrate doing that style. C3 input background red, and now we'll actually have color because the black won't show up very well. White. Yes, I need to press OK. Right, there you go. So that's basically, it's changed it a bit. Now this is the headers. This is row 1. This is row 2, and this is row 3. So let's go back into there now, and structure, we want the style. So row 3, let's go row 2, background green. Okay, and there again, actually it is green, but you can't really see it, so actually we better go and make it a bit more obvious. Properties, style, R2 input, can't spell today, background green, shall we have? Colour yellow. There you go. Now, if you see here, the background colour has overridden that. If I wanted it the other way round, I would just simply change the order in which these commands are. This is standard CSS. There you go. So now the background colour of the text in the text field on row 2 is now overridden by the column, and so it's white and not yellow. Good. Well, more or less covers it this time round. We could actually say I just simply want to not see the column headers at all, and so to do that I would go into display and column header, turn it off. There are lots of other entries and properties you can try, apply that, and now you see that there is no column header. We are going to have a look at read-only and forms mode. So let's go back into our table. Now at this point you're looking at a table, and you are looking at a table that is editable. As you can see, I can change the data. Now, if we were to switch it to a read-only, we would be looking at the same data, but we can't edit it. Now, basically, when you are presenting data to a third party, you generally want it in a position where they can't actually edit it. They just want to be able to see the data you have presented to them. And so this icon here toggles between read-write and read-only. If it goes to a pen, it means you click the pen to make it writable, you click the padlock to make it locked and read-only. Now, if I select this row and I go to forms mode, you'll see that George is the data for George is here, is actually visible. Now there is a bug here at the moment, as you can see. Now this bug is fixed in the latest version of the code, but just at the minute it isn't fixed in this version that I'm demoing, but I can show you a workaround for that, which is that we will go into structure. Now in this one, if we go over to the options, click into options, and if we just add a form display name and press OK, close, then and go back into forms mode. That one now has no markup, and then the average we need to go and change structure, the back in where are we here, down to here, in we go, and we'll just put AVG in there. At the minute you can't put markup into the form display name. The form display name will always override the display name when you are in forms mode, and so you can actually put in a longer, more instructive, please enter the average figure in the box below. And let's put a semicolon on. Let's go in there now, and let's go in there. Please enter the average figure in the box below. Yes, well, that actually, I didn't need the semicolon. and the box isn't below, it's to the side, and you would need that to be in read-write mode in order to make that make sense. On the other hand, this is narrow or wider columns. If I make it wider, then it gives you more space, and actually that now makes sense, except for the fact I shouldn't really put the semicolon in. So we're just going to take that out and back in here, in the box below, take out the semicolon because the system automatically adds one anyway. Good. Now, yes, read-only is kind of important because when this database opens, we have opened the database, the entire database, in read-write mode. Had we opened the database in read-only mode, this table would have appeared and all of the forms would automatically have appeared in read-only mode. So that's about it. We're now going to move on to looking at this table and actually finding ways of presenting it and using it and sharing it with users, embedding it in databases, and generally publishing it across a wider audience.